Hello, everyone. Welcome to another daily encouragement. I hope you're all staying safe out there and healthy and persevering and protecting one another. I pray that you're all praying for one another, and I pray that you are growing closer to God, being filled with the Spirit, and most importantly, staying safe and protected away from Satan. And that's something I want to talk about today, is how the devil feeds into your life and creeps in. And there are a lot of different analogies, and we're only going to focus on one or two today. But there's a quote that my good friend Jonah told me about recently, and it's this: the devil won't come to you with horns and a red cloak. He'll come to you through the things you love. So my question is, what is the devil disguising himself as in your life? Or better yet, what are you allowing the devil to do? What power are you enabling him in your life? Now, I don't want us to think that we are more powerful than the devil, because we're not. Only Jesus is. But we can be stronger or weaker when he approaches us and when we encounter him. When we look at Adam and Eve in the garden, they were new. They were never experienced the devil before, never experienced Satan, or didn't know who he was. But he snuck in, slithered in as a snake, and he creeped into the good in their lives, and he infiltrated that peace, and he destroyed it. So sneakily, in such a cunning way, and he completely overtook their senses. They knew right from wrong to the degree that God informed them, but he started to play with their eyes and describing the things that Eve desired, and then bringing that onto Adam. And there are things in our lives that the devil will do to where he gets in our heads, he infiltrates our senses, if you will, and I want us to be aware of that so that we don't let that happen. I want you to look at this image, and I want you to ask yourself, what comes to mind? In what ways do we see ourselves in this image? How is the devil portrayed? Now, this image is a hard one to look at. It's a hard one to reflect and realize that we can be the person in this image at times. I want you to turn to your Bibles, and we're going to be in the book of James, starting in chapter 1. In verses 2 through 8, it says this: "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, wherever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do." Now, we have a very clear direction here to not doubt and come to the Lord and ask him for guidance and wisdom. And not doubt. Who causes doubt in our lives? It's not God. It's not Jesus. And the doubt that is given to us by other people is the same as the doubt that we receive internally. It's all from Satan. He caused Eve to doubt what she knew so that she would stumble. Satan causes us to doubt what we know what's right so that we'll stumble. And I don't want us to get in a place where we are unstable so that we won't receive anything from God. That would be a dark and scary place. And I don't think any of us deserve that fate. Jesus died on the cross so that we don't have that fate. But we can't doubt God and trust Jesus. It has to be full conviction in the eyes of God. In James chapter 1, verse 22 through 24, he gives us a very, very important warning. It says this: "Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in the mirror and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like." Now, I don't think any of us have short-term memory, but that's almost the description that is given here in James, where if you look in the mirror, we all look in the mirror every morning. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Who are you? Do you tell yourself and remind yourself who you are? As soon as your feet hit the ground in the morning, do you think, what suffering for the faith can I endure today? What opportunities to honor God should I be taking? And reminding yourself that you're a child of God and that you have a higher calling and you have a responsibility vested to you through Jesus to further the kingdom and advance your own life and the lives of your family and the lives of the ones around you. I find it interesting back in verses 2 through 8 where we are described as anybody with doubt is like a wave of the sea to be blown and tossed by the wind. I draw a parallel with Hosea chapter 8, and it says, "Those who sow the wind will reap the whirlwind." Another valuable quote relating to this is by Dr. Brian Chappell, and his says, "The only reason sin has power in your life is because you love it." Isn't that so true? We look at sin in a way that it's kind of confusing, and it's a paradoxical thought where we think, okay, I know what is wrong to the degree that we all do with our perceptions. I know what is wrong. I know that I've experienced this before. So that's the sin I want to avoid. So does it make any sense if we say, I know what's wrong. I know the outcome. I know I'm going to feel awful about it. Might as well go ahead and do it. That doesn't make any sense. But isn't that the thought process that so quickly blows by our minds, and then we doubt and then we sin? That's what Satan is up to. That's what he does. That's why he is the great deceiver, because what in our right minds is viewed as a really stupid thought, Satan will make that an attractive thought. It's like the story with David after sinning with Bathsheba, and Nathan comes to him, gives him this story and scenario of a man, and proceeds to describe what David has just done. And David's response when it's about someone else is, that's awful. He should be put to death. He is a sinner. And his friend says, that is what you just did. And he opened his eyes to that perception of, we got to be looking at our lives and our situations almost from a third view. I think that's what James is illustrating here for us. And I think that image that I showed earlier shows that to us. I think Eve and Adam have showed that to us. The most important thing that we need to be cognitive of is keeping the devil free of our senses. All of them. We need to be purely focused on the grace of Jesus, knowing that we have sin and we deserve death, but he saves us and he takes that death away from us so that we may have life. My challenge is that you keep sin free of power in your life. Preserve in your faith and don't forget who you are. I pray that you focus on the ways that Jesus benefits your life rather than the ways that the devil tears you down. I love you, church.